Okay, thank you. Here we have Miss Allen, who's our 5th grade reading teacher, and so she's going to talk about her data from her STAR practice exam that we took last week, and so the floor is yours.
All right, so I guess the skills and standards that they did really well on, across the board, I have my 3 classes. 2 of my classes had advanced TEKS, so like in the high 80s and 90%, which was really, really good. And those were using, so identifying the words, meaning of words with affixes, and where's my 5.8b? Analyzing the relationships among characters, which I was really shocked and pleased that they did that, since we covered fiction like first semester and we've really been focusing on informational TEKS that we have been struggling with. Vocabulary, being able to decipher the correct meaning of how it's used in the text. Making connections was a big struggle, like text to text, especially with the paired passages. Both were informational, but trying to distinguish what was talked about in this passage that wasn't talked about in another. And then synthesizing, putting that information together to come up with a new meaning. And then text structures and features, identifying the purpose. And I think that's more so just not going back and looking specifically at those captions or the headings, because they look at the picture and they're like, oh, this is a picture of this, but they're not really looking at the words, the text that gives more information about that. So those are my biggest strengths and weaknesses across the board between all 3 classes.
So what are some ways you feel like you need to like reteach those TEKS that you struggle with?
So going back to the field guides and the IQ analysis, looking at the misconceptions, I think giving them multiple ways that the question is presented. I know me, I spend a lot of time making like little warm-ups and quick assessments on my own, but not giving them the different ways the test could be questioned. Yeah, so especially like with the text features, not just what is this text feature and being able to identify, okay, what's the purpose of this? Is it giving you more information? Is it aiding in visualization and using that vocabulary that they're gonna see? Because most of them, they know, oh, that's a picture, that's a caption, you know, what the purpose is, but how does it relate to the text? And I noticed even on my informational unit, a lot of them can tell me what is the purpose of these text features, but how does it relate to what it's talking about? So that's going back, and now that we're on argumentative, that's something I can still tie in because they include those text features and stuff. Informational is a chunk of my test, and so that's something, even with argumentative, I can be tying in those same tweaks.
So with your small group, well, how would you, do you have any like mini lessons you have to reteach? I know reading is different. I'm a math mind, so in reading, I know your TEKS spiral back in constantly throughout the year. So what are some innovative ways that you feel like you can go back and reteach those things without having to stop your whole entire structure of your lessons?
I think with every genre, inferencing is something that can be tied back in with every genre. You have to make an inference. You have to take the text, evidence, your prior knowledge, and then put it together, and what can you get from that? And so even fiction, we haven't taught it, but inferencing is another like general skill that they struggle with. So I can reteach that whole class. And then even small groups, like I'm planning my station rotations. And so I have, I found some really good like STAR STEM questions, but there's constantly seeing those questions, and they get to do it with a partner and then assess what they're struggling with. Once I give them, like we come back together and I'll give them the answer key and see, okay, I'm still struggling with this. I'm still struggling with that. So when they come to me for small groups, I can tackle those skills.